Sneakers and Cleats, the podcast.
Hi. Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. This is Monday, December 11th. This is our 59th episode of Sneakers and Cleats. Matt Roy, Don Harris, Chuck McIntyre. As always, the whole group. Guys, it was a fun day yesterday for the Cowboys.
Day. I thought you were going to ask us about number 59.
Well, I'm going to, but I just wanted to, I like getting, I'm
I
trying to
thought
think.
that was always the first thing.
Well, it's going to be, but we already know who 59 is. There's a lot of 59s out there.
Not very many.
A lot of linebackers.
Yep.
Not a lot of good ones.
So,
Dat Win?
Dat Win. I only think of him as 9.
Dat
I
Win.
guess I kind of do too, for the most part.
Dat Win. I've no. See, there you
How
go.
can you not know who Dat Win is?
How can you know who Dat Win is?
Got to educate these youngsters.
Yes, we do.
Seeing is that Chuck just asked me before we started, did Baltimore win yesterday? And then I said the Colts.
You did do that.
So I don't know if that says a lot about me, but anyway, I got
Dat Win was a Vietnamese immigrant, is from Rockport, Fulton, Texas, down on the coast by Corpus Christi.
you could have given me 100 guesses.
His
I never
parents
would've
were fishermen down there on the coast. And he was a high school football player after immigrating here, went to Texas A&M, played linebacker for the Aggies, and is probably a top 5 Aggie of all time, 10.
That's
He was
pretty
Defensive
safe.
Player of the Year in the Southwest
Had
Conference.
a heck of a career in the NFL too, man. Parcells loved Dat Win.
And he was like 5'10",
Yep.
210.
Whatever, guys.
And he was
Dude, he was a maniac.
he was
He's a
Parsons.
stud.
He was mono. His motor, he had the most unbelievable. He scored more defensive touchdowns in college football than probably anybody in college football history.
Well, shame on me for not having him on the list.
That's right. And he did radio in San Antonio for years with Jason Minix afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Shout out Jason Minix. Well, stupid me, I just had Luke Kuechly and Jack Ham on this list.
It's okay. I had Darren Smith on my brain list too. 'Cause
Jack Ham's the best.
Another Cowboys.
He's the
legend.
only NFL Hall of Famer that primarily wore the number 59.
He's by far the GOAT 59.
Yeah, Luke Kuechly. Who's better though, Luke Kuechly or like D'Amico Ryans? I think Luke Kuechly. If Luke Kuechly kept playing, he would have probably been one of the best 59s of all time.
Yeah, D'Amico was a heck of a player too. Locker room guy. I mean, what you're seeing as coach. I mean, he was a hell of a player too for the Texans
And
when they were
how
coming up.
How ironic that this week D'Amico Ryans is going to be responsible for making sure that C.J. Stroud doesn't become Luke Kuechly.
Yes.
That's actually a hell of an irony. Well, let's get to Dat Win for Dem Boys. I just did that.
You did.
That was a dominant win by the Cowboys last night against the Eagles. They win 33-13 with on the leg of Brandon Aubrey and the arm of Dak Prescott. It was probably the most impressive game I've seen from the Cowboys in 15 years.
I don't know if I'll go
That's a
back
big
that
statement.
far.
It was okay. Let me rephrase. This is the most impressive offense from them I've seen in 15 years.
What about week 1 against the Giants?
The Giants aren't a football team.
Okay. Let's put it this way. They have I don't know what it is. Is it 8? 20 plus win?
I thought it was 15 points, but
No, it's 20 points or
20?
more this year, 8 times.
yeah, they kill teams. I think they're 4th in the league in point differential.
Yeah, in plus 15 wins, they lead the league. They have 8.
Yeah, and the Eagles have 0. Did you know that?
Right.
The Eagles
so,
haven't won one game by
but
more
wait
than
a
15
second.
points.
So, to me, this was for all of the talk and all of the nonsense that they had to endure all year. I'm talking about the Cowboys. You finally beat a team that everybody considered to be at least pretty good, and they dominated them. So now what?
Well, this is their only win all season against a team with a winning record. They beat the Seahawks last week when the Seahawks had a winning record. The Seahawks no longer have a winning record. I don't know how you're going to count that one. But this was a dominant performance, and I think a lot of people expected it to be a pretty good performance from the Cowboys because you come into this year, I think all of us would have said, I think they split with Philly. I think they should have won the first Philly game.
They should
Should
have.
have.
They were inches away from winning
And
that
they
first Philly
do
game.
if they played that one now. I think people are realizing that they're getting better, and the reason they're getting better and maybe doing so more than in normal years is this transition to McCarthy calling plays and the offense and just the way that he's coaching. takes some time, and they're improving. Michael Gallup's improving.
Michael Gallup still sucks.
Dak's improving. The offensive line is not improving, but Parsons is like, they're not just relying on him to be the only guy. They're doing it with Gilmore every week. They're doing somebody different every week. Gilmore or Bland or Parsons or the big guys up front. I mean, they're getting better week to week, which is, as a coach, that's your dream.
I think that the Cowboys impressed enough this week to be put in the conversation of like short list of Super Bowl contenders now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do in the next 3 games, because the next 3 games are brutal. Your Bills, Dolphins, and Lions, and you're in a dome pretty much for all. Or the Lions are in a dome, which means they're going to be better. But I think right now I can say without a shadow of a doubt that they are the top. I think they're a better team than Philly, and I think they're a top 2 team in the NFC and probably a top 4 team in the league.
I'd put them behind the Niners.
Behind the Niners. I think they're worse than the Niners because the Niners are their bugaboo anyway.
Yeah.
But
I don't have any confidence that they can go into San Francisco and win an NFC championship game, but I think they can get there no matter what, on the home or on the road. I think they can get there.
Is it outrageous to say that unless they play the Niners in the divisional or in the wild card round, that they will and should get to the championship game?
I think that's fair.
Unless they run into the Niners earlier.
But I also think this, I mean, you're looking at what they've done, obviously recently with what they've done at home. This is a team that has to get home field. I think everything hinges on that. If they've got to do this on the road, I don't think they're good enough to be able to win a bunch of games on the road. You think they could
beat the Lions on the road in
the playoffs? I think they could beat the Lions potentially on the road. Yes,
yeah.
I think they could go to New Orleans or Atlanta in the first round and win those games.
I think
they could beat Philly too because of the familiarity with them as an opponent and the fact that they've dominated them really over, for sure the last few years. So it's going to San Francisco, but I just think overall, when you go into a playoff game, you're going to get beat up more than likely. They're going to get beat up the rest of this month too. So is Philadelphia for that matter. But I just think if these guys have design on a long run, they have to get home field. And, McCarthy pretty much said today, I mean, I like playing at home. I mean, that's obviously going to be the goal. Now we'll see if they can pull it off.
Yeah, I said on Friday that this was the most important game that the Cowboys have had for sure this year, but probably in the last couple of years, because without this game, I think that their season was over. I thought that they would have had no chance to win the NFC East, which they still have a slim chance, but they would have had zero chance if they lost. They would have had zero chance at the 1 seed, which is pivotal for them to try and get home field and try and win games at home.
Do they really have a shot at the 1 seed?
They still have a shot at the 1 seed. If they win if they win out and the Niners and Eagles lose 1 game, then they get the 1 seed. They won't win out. I don't think they will, at least.
No, but I bet you $5 neither one of those other 2 teams will win out either. That's what's going to be the fun about the
Niners will win out?
Nope.
Who they got?
The Niners have the Ravens left on the schedule. It's their only hard game.
Yeah, but they still have division games, and for the most part, I think those are hard. Those are the wars.
I think they have one of each, actually. I think they have Cardinals, Rams, and
Rams looked pretty good yesterday. So, I mean, again, it's hard, and teams are going to look – the Cowboys are going to look different a month from now than they do right now, good or bad. They might be better than they are right now, but it doesn't take much to get this thing going the wrong way. But I think history has proven over time McCarthy's pretty darn good at coaching a football team up during the course of the year. They're usually going to be at least pretty good in the month of December.
Let me ask you guys this. Did yesterday change your opinion on the Cowboys one way or the other? Let me rephrase it this way. Did yesterday change your opinion on either team one way or the other?
I think it changed my opinion more on Philly than it did on the Cowboys. I knew the Cowboys were good. I still doubt their clutch gene, but doubting it less now because I think the way McCarthy has handled Dak and the throws that he has to make, and they're less turnover prone, and the defense is better than I thought it was going to be. I just have that PTSD with the Cowboys. It's like, you the minute you believe is the minute it falls apart.
Which means that they're going to lose this week.
I would not be a bit surprised.
Well, yeah, the
uncommon opponent, outdoor. It's going to be cold. I mean, there's a lot of things working against them.
Beat the Chiefs, right?
And that team is, you never know what you're going to get with that team. Talk about a helter-skelter team,
They
right? I
didn't-
mean,
they
they're all over the place.
They didn't beat the Chiefs. Kadarius Toney's toe beat the Chiefs.
Well, that too.
Saw a video today where he looked at the. It's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
He looked at the sideline referee like, "Am I cool?"
I was going to get to that at the end, but
All right. I was gonna interject though when you said, did my opinion change the Cowboys? Yeah, I think a little bit more on the positive side because
oh, for sure.
they finally slapped a team. I meant to say be slapped, and I was gonna go. So they finally did something
Someone
against
finally
a
did it.
quality opponent, right? And they look crisp. They're always in attack mode. They looked very cohesive. They looked like a well-oiled machine yesterday in a lot of ways. By no means was it perfect, but I think this is something that we haven't really seen from them a lot in terms of just a whole game where you can just go start to finish where it looks like the personality of the head coach finally fits the personality of the offensive football team.
And it's everybody, right? It's the little things like Jake Ferguson's a stud. Pollard ran hit for the hard as he's run all year.
Yep, well said.
And had big chunks.
Yeah.
And the kicker looks like the greatest kicker who's ever lived, not just because he's so consistent and accurate, but when he kicks a 45-yarder, it's like a pitching wedge.
Don, it's not an overstatement to say that Brandon Aubrey is having the best the best season for a kicker in history.
Tucker might have something to say about that.
No, I'm not saying he is the best kicker.
Yeah.
I'm saying he's having the best season for a kicker. He's 30 for 30. Last night he hit 45, 50, 59, and 60, and they all looked easy.
I'm telling you, the 59 had another. He was kicking 75 off the tee on kickoffs.
After the game, they asked him, like, what's your range? And he was like, if he asked me to do like a 69, 68 yarder, I'd probably say that's about the limit. I was like, what?
That's ridiculous.
Like,
That's
that's
NFL
kicking
record.
from the star,
Yeah.
literally.
If there's one criticism I have, it's like I don't pretend to be a coach, but we've got to find Dak a baseball player to go learn how to slide. Every time, right? Every time he takes off, I know you and I are both going, get down better, get down cleaner, get down quicker. It's like hang out with Josh Young or Marcus Simeon during the offseason. Do something to learn how to slide. I mean, this is getting to be at some point he's going to do something late and he's going to pay for it dearly.
Dak has a better chance of being injured sliding than he does of being drilled while running.
So let's talk about Dak. So Dak is playing. He's playing his best football ever right now.
True.
This is the best stretch of his entire career.
True statement.
And he hasn't even come close to this, in my opinion. Like
his QBR his rookie year was pretty damn good too.
Yeah, but this is better than that.
Yeah.
Like he's thrown 19 touchdowns to 2 interceptions in the last 9 weeks. Like it's ridiculous. And the book on him coming in was, can he not turn the ball over? He hasn't turned the ball over this year. He's not going to get to 10 probably unless he has like a horrible last 4 games. And he was the one that said,
he had a fumble, scoop, and score last night.
Yeah, but Fletcher Cox is going to do that to some people, and that Jalen Carter and that Philly D line is going to do that to people.
Yeah.
So, like, he just basically got slapped out of his arm. Like that happens. But he is playing the best ball of his career, and there's a reason that number 6 on the rundown right here is he's the Super Bowl or he's the MVP favorite. He's the MVP betting favorite right now. The Cowboys quarterback, someone that was basically being taken out to pasture and shot at the beginning of this season, and everyone was like, can he do it? Can he do it? Can he do it? I think Mike McCarthy has fixed him, and Mike McCarthy has shown that he trusts Dak now because he's putting more on Dak's plate than ever, and Dak is taking it and running with it.
Yeah, but I will give half the credit to McCarthy because
for sure,
what he's put on his plate is an easier task, whether it's the reads or the throws. It's Dak's making good throws, but he's not having he seems less confused. He seems confident where he's going with the football, and the throws that he does make, he doesn't have to make ridiculous throws.
Yeah, I think it's all about the confidence, right? He's obviously getting more and more of a feel for what McCarthy wants to do. But again, I go back to what Aaron Rodgers said about him a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can impress that guy playing that position, and he's already worked with McCarthy, I mean, I think that says it all. I don't know. I mean, I don't think anybody around here was burying Dak. I mean, you might say
I might have buried
he
him a
might
little
be
bit.
the guy that he wouldn't be the guy that would ever win you a title, but again, it's a team sport. I mean, what's required of Dak this year may not be required next year or the year after. I mean, McCarthy has had really good playoff teams before, one that won it all, but they've done it differently. Some years it's running, some years it's throwing, and we'll see what ultimately they end up doing when they get to the crunch time.
Let me
Well,
ask
the
you
thing
this.
is, with Cowboys quarterbacks, Troy Aikman was in town this summer, and we got to sit him down, and he was he loves Dak, but he's also quite honest. Cowboys quarterbacks are judged by these, and that's it. Like Danny White was great. He took the Cowboys to 3 straight NFC Championship games, but he's never talked about in the same breath as Staubach and Aikman because he didn't win it. And Dak is having a great year, and Dak now has what, 2 playoff wins, 3? But
2, I think.
he's got to get a couple this year, and he's got to get there, or he's just always going to be Romo.
Let me ask you this: if they win 3 of their last 4, let's say they lose to the Dolphins, and he plays reasonably well in all 4 games, and they end up losing 1, do you think he wins the MVP?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think it's starting to become understood that when you're the Cowboys quarterback playing in Dallas with the most visible franchise on the planet, to be able to put a season together like that, Dak's dealing with stuff that the kid in Green Bay's not having to deal with, that even a guy playing quarterback in Los Angeles isn't having to deal with. I mean, this is a whole nother level to absurdity when you're talking about outside noise. And I don't know that anybody's ever handled it any better than what Dak Prescott's been able to do.
You're the shortstop of the Yankees.
Well, you did see him starting to get a little fed up with everybody asking
sure.
earlier this season. He was just like, can you guys just freaking stop asking?
Yeah.
He started getting testy with reporters and everything, especially after that. It was right after the Monday night game, or it was right after the Niner game. One of those two, whether it was week 5 or week 6, when he was just like, yeah, this is what we freaking do. You guys are going to keep asking me this damn question. Like, I'm not going to turn the ball over. Like, he just started
want to talk about the turnovers.
Yeah, he just started getting snippy about it. But anyway, so I have the Cowboys schedule here. Cowboys at Bills this weekend. Win or loss?
Loss.
They're underdogs.
Barely, yeah, 2 points.
I'll go with sneaky win.
I think it's a sneaky one. I think they lose next week to the Dolphins. That's the loss.
I think that
for
could
me.
be a loss too. Yep, very much so.
Even though, and the Dolphins are playing literally right now, I think the Dolphins are a paper tiger because they can't beat anyone with a winning record
Well,
either.
if they're healthy, that's the last team I want to see. If they're healthy, if they got Achane,
yeah, it's like their whole fantasy team.
I mean, with as explosive as they are outside, and then having that guy as your B running back, come on. I mean, it's a level of absurdity that you're right. They could be a paper tiger because they are flashy, but they're also pretty gritty on defense. That's just one of those teams I wouldn't want to have to see them unless I was playing in the Super Bowl somewhere.
I think they go 2-2 or 3-1.
So I think they go 3-1. I think the Eagles will go 4-0, but let's just say they go 3-1. That puts the Cowboys probably at the 5th seed. Do you think they can win the Super Bowl from the 5th seed?
No.
Because in that case, the Niners would probably be the 1 seed. The 6 and 7 would probably get eliminated. That means the Cowboys would play the Niners in the divisional round.
Sayonara.
Yep.
Lights out.
Bye-bye.
I just think, too, if you're an indoor team and have to play a lot outdoors, possibly in the postseason, that works against you, too. I mean, I think if they're not a higher seed than 5th, if they don't win the division, I don't like their chances.
I don't think they're going to win the division just based on the teams they have in front of them.
If they don't win the division, they're 5th.
Yeah, because they'll be the highest wild card.
But what would lead you to believe anything after watching the Eagles the last 2 weeks that they're going to go 4-0?
Because they play the Seahawks, the Giants twice, and the Cardinals. Those are three of the worst teams in the league, or two of the worst teams in the league.
So, like, those teams are going to have nothing to lose, and guys will start playing for their jobs at the end of the year. It's not going to be as easy as you might think.
You think that, like, Tommy Lasagna can pull off a win against the Eagles, against the big bad Eagles?
I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if they go 3-1 or 2-2.
Hey, man, the Jets just beat the Texans yesterday.
Yeah, but the Jets have at least one good side of the ball. The Giants suck
Well, that
on
kid
both
looked
sides.
pretty good yesterday. Zach, he played great yesterday.
For once in 3 years. I had Brandon.
There's no pleasing you. What Austin Powers movie was that? Oh.
I used to think you're crazy.
But now I can clearly see your
Nuts.
yes.
I had it on here to get to Brandon Aubrey.
Oh, thank you.
My favorite part of Austin Powers, since we've already made this digression, is in the third one in Goldmember with the guy with the mole.
Yeah,
He's like, "I'm gonna
holy
chop it
moly."
off and make some guacamole." It's one of my favorite parts.
So irreverent, but
It's so bad.
so on point.
John Candy in Uncle Buck also has a mole scene with the principal at the elementary school. So great.
Wrapping up the game last night, 3 big takeaways were Brandon Aubrey is unbelievable.
Buck. Never mind. Go ahead.
No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No.
Yeah,
He,
we're going to go short on this one today, remember?
you know, he meets the principal at his kid's school. He's got to go. He's the uncle, so I didn't know anything about it. He shows up and the teacher introduces herself to the principal, and she's got this giant, hairy thing. And he's introducing himself. And he goes, "Buck, nice to meet you. Buck Melanoma."
This is why the podcast is no longer than you.
Yeah.
I'm Marty's Uncle Wart. Mole. Fuck.
Anyway,
Oh, the great John Candy, man.
there's no coming back from that. We were going to go short tonight, so let's end it with this. Don,
Edit that out.
there's no editing in this. I don't edit anymore. I just clip it and go.
It's fine.
The Spurs, are they going to win tonight or no?
No.
Are they going to win on Wednesday?
No.
Are they going to win on Friday?
No.
Are they going to win ever again this season?
Yeah. I think they have a chance in Houston tonight.
By the time
But I haven't checked the score.
it just started. It's probably 45 to zip.
Oh, I shouldn't be laughing.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. Anyway,
Those Charles
you think-
Bessie in the D League. Gosh.
do you think they win tonight, Chuck? Against Houston in Houston?
I got to see a little more. I like that they play in Wimby at the traditional 5. I think a lot of us have been screaming for that. Like, what does he do well, right? He rebounds, blocks shots. He's great around the basket with the ball in his hand. Let him play around the basket.
I think
Dude, basketball's been played since like 18-something, and it was always like, stick the big guy under the basket, throw it to the big guy, put it in the basket. Kareem, Wilt, all of them. What's changed? Like, stick the big guy in the middle, under the basket, throw him the ball.
Steph Curry changed. Steph Curry
I know,
changed
but
everything.
things are simple.
The
things are simple.
basketball used to be, to your point, let's get the closest shot to the basket that you can.
Put the
And
ball in the basket.
And now it's score as many points as possible, as evidenced by the Pacers, who are living up to their name as the Pacers,
By
scoring
the way,
157 points.
Halliburton's an MVP candidate.
Yeah,
he's
what dopes do
unbelievable.
the Spurs look like not
They-
taking Tyrese Halliburton and taking Devin Vassell instead?
One pick higher.
One pick. You picked
But guess what?
Devin Vassell's not bad. I'm
Well,
not
wait,
hating on
wait.
Devin Vassell either.
The Kings drafted Halliburton,
Traded him for Sabonis.
and they traded him for Sabonis. Are the Kings the idiots for not trading De'Aaron Fox instead of Halliburton?
No, I like De'Aaron Fox.
More than Halliburton?
I love De'Aaron Fox. What
Hall-
are you doing?
Halliburton's the second best player in the league right now.
This is the most off we've ever
I
been on a
know.
podcast. I swear.
Because
Maybe
we're
it's 'cause-
taping it late in the day.
you know, that's probably it.
It's been a stressful day.
Has it?
Yeah,
It's been a
You're
day.
in a constant state of stress these days.
true.
Yeah, the whole conversation we were having earlier about the schedule got us all stressed out.
All right. 2 hours, I don't know we got anything settled.
Whoever's listening to this still, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Anyway, all right, let's wrap it up for today. Let's come back on Wednesday reset. We'll be.
You know what stress is?
What?
Stress is FaceTiming with your 89-year-old father to try to show him how to connect to Wi-Fi on his computer.
Does your father know how to FaceTime?
I called him.
That's pretty impressive, though. My
Yeah.
88-year-old grandmother still doesn't know. Because she can't hear. So whenever you FaceTime her, you're like this, and I'm holding the phone here, and Mimi's like this. I'm just staring at her ceiling.
I'll let he who doesn't have that problem cast the
Yeah.
first stone.
We're going to be there soon enough.
That's right.
I know it's a good thing.
already
You guys are
there.
gonna have to wear some hearing aids and
Right.
stuff. It's all right.
Soon enough.
All right, that's it for the Monday edition of Sneakers Cleats podcast. Remember to download, rate, review, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, depending on how you feel about this episode. Tell a friend, tell an enemy. We'll be back on Wednesday for the final high school hype squad of the football season. We will talk in depth about some Larry Hill and Smithson Valley Rangers.
Uncle Buck, check it out. John Candy.
Until then, everyone have a good week.